Do you know that there's a shipwreck right off Milwaukee shore that you can go visit today? So one of the claims to fame that we have in the city here is we have one of the most unique ships sitting right off our shoreline, just in a few feet of water. The SS Appomattox. It was built in 1896, and at the time, it was the longest wooden cargo ship in the world, about 319 feet long. So it was a bit of a unique ship because it was still made out of wood when we're starting to move over to steel for ship construction, but it still has this very modern look that you would see through most of the 20th century. Kind of like some more of our famous shipwrecks of that time period. So the Appomattox's role was pretty typical for ships of the time. It would go out west to Superior to pick up some iron ore, take it back to the iron mills out here, replace that with coal, carry it back out west where people need it for factories and for living and things like that. So it was carrying coal that night, 3,000 tons more than the Appomattox weighed empty. But it was also towing a barge. That barge had another capacity for some more coal in there, and it was weighed down pretty heavily. It was a very foggy and stormy night. Couldn't see the shoreline and the lighthouses that were up there. The Appomattox got too close to shore where it is pretty shallow over here, and it ran aground on the sand. Nobody could get it unstuck, but no lives were lost and the cargo was able to be salvaged. So the ship just sat on shore here for about 15 years, which really makes the Deep Thought incident of last year seem pretty not a big deal. This little thing happened called World War I, and it really destroyed a lot of the shipping throughout the whole world. And suddenly the engines in this ship that had been sitting for 15 years really started to seem valuable. So a company finally came in 1919, took out the boilers and the engines, and they repurposed them for something else. Anything else that was left of value was really not needed. Some of the superstructure would have been repurposed for other ships. Anything metal, some of it's still down there, propellers still down there. And a lot of the coal that got washed overboard washed up on shore. People came down and they picked it up and used it for their own personal uses. Now, if you want to find the Appomattox yourself, just a couple things to keep in mind. First off, this whole shoreline is technically private property, so you don't want to be going up on the beaches or anything like that. As long as you keep your feet in the water, you're fine. You can walk up and down the shoreline and that's not a problem. Second of all, leave things the way that you found it. It is an archaeological site, and even though there's not anything valuable there, we don't want to wreck it for the future. We want to preserve this as long as we can, just so other people can find it and enjoy it. So, leave no trace, practice those rules. Don't take anything, don't mess anything up. Don't leave anything either. That's the big part of that. Third of all, this is super important. Water's dangerous. It looks great today. It looks totally calm, but it's super dangerous. And if you're snorkeling, you don't know what you're doing, that can be a pretty bad situation. So don't go alone. Always bring a buddy with you, and just practice safe diving. Don't push your limits or anything like that. And once you go to Atwater, you're probably familiar with this sign that is standing up at the top of the bluff. It tells you all about the history of the Appomattox. Once you get down to the shore, though, we're not going to go to the spot where it's marked on Google Maps. It's in the wrong spot. We actually want this pier where you can actually see the ship sitting there under the water. So we're going to head on down the stairs to get to the beachfront, and once we're there, we're going to head north up along the shoreline. Again, trying to stay into the water to keep ourselves from trespassing on anybody's property. You're going to see a storm drain sticking out on this concrete encasement, and this is going to be your marker on where you want to start. If you head straight out from this point, you'll soon reach some of the wreckage that is showing up from the Appomattox. The wreckage is clearly visible once you head out a few yards, and it's just in a couple of feet of water. There'll be a couple pieces of metal, and then you'll soon start to see the wreckage that makes up the bottom of the keel and the bilge area from the Appomattox. Now, there is plenty of metal that is sticking around here, so please be careful with your feet. It's a good idea just to do some swimming around here. Just keep an eye out where you're stepping there. As you can see, we're pretty close to the shore here, and there's already all this wreckage that's here. The wreck stretches out 319 feet more, and the deepest parts of it are in about 25 feet of water. We're not going to check that out today, but we are going to start taking a little look at some of the wreckage that is visible here. According to this archaeological plan, you can kind of get a sense of where you are out there. Now you can see the baseboards of the keel and of the bilge that are right here, some pieces of wood that are still preserved. This preservation is possible especially because of Lake Michigan's cold temperatures that we get throughout the year. Now, as I mentioned before, there's not really anything of value down here. It's all been taken away. If you dig around in the sand, you might find a piece of coal, you might find some scrap metal that's been pulled off of the side at one point. So get on out there. This is something that I would definitely encourage everybody to go see at least once in their time in Milwaukee. It's a unique part of our history, and it's a special thing that you can see and have that sense of adventure just in your hometown.